y'all G's out there? Your boy OG coming at you with another one. Another reaction. Now, I would have done those college football reactions, but I was just so busy with work. But I already know my dogs handle business against Georgia Tech, and now we are a lock in for the college football playoff. Most likely we're definitely inbound for that first round bye, because we're definitely going to rise up to 3 tonight. And we get to have a bit of a rematch game with Alabama. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been waiting for this. Oh, I've been waiting for this one. You will not believe. But anyway, let's get into it.
Bowl game. So let's have a look. College football playoff top 25. These rankings presented
So we already
by
know about
AT&T.
these rankings.
And for the first time this
know about
season,
these
James
rankings.
Madison is ranked.
We
That
know.
could be really big depending on what happens in the ACC championship game.
Massive right now. And now if James
And then
Madison takes
Georgia
care of business
Tech,
and Duke
still
somehow
ranked.
pulls
They're
the
at
upset
22.
of Virginia in the ACC championship game,
They played
you
all
can
right
see
this
two
year.
G5 teams, one from the American, one from the Sun Belt. They're in the college football
Okay,
playoff. And
for
you look at what
boys,
Coach
I'm
James
skipping
Madison
ahead.
back. North Texas also
because
playing in this conference championship
I don't
game.
want
And
to see like
the American, they
footage.
too are very low in terms of
So we
strength
already know
of
about
schedule. You see
these.
The other teams 21 through
So,
25. Now, Tulane is in
Virginia?
the American championship game as well against North Texas.
I ain't gonna lie. I did hear about Ohio State and Michigan. I literally thought Michigan was gonna do it again. But Ohio got past that hump. And they beat Michigan after almost a 5-year deficit. Crazy. But they got back at them. So, let's say this. Ohio State can get back at their rifle like that. No doubt in my mind that Georgia can get back at Alabama. Alabama's been giving us problems, and I don't know how this SEC championship game is going to go, but we'll see. Let's continue.
They are up 4 spots all the way to 20. And you see Virginia is going to the ACC championship game at number 17.
Been so impressed with what Tony Elliott's been able to do with this Virginia team and winning the last couple games when they had to get to the ACC championship.
We also
game
got
against
Virginia
Tech.
and
left no
Virginia
doubt
and
that
Duke
they were
are playing
better
the
team.
ACC championship.
And then looking at Tulane
ACC
sitting at number
championship.
20, that's huge for
This
the
is kind of
Americans.
weird.
Now whoever wins
Because
that
Miami
game
should really be
Tulane
up in
and
there. I
North
don't know where
Texas,
Duke
they're
came from.
absolutely going to be one of the top 5 conference champions in rankings.
All right, let's start counting them down because this next group is going to show you where the cut line is and also where the pecking order is. Utah finishes with 10 wins, but they're down 2 spots. The run would seemingly be over for the Utes in terms of trying to get into the college football playoff. Number 14. The
Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt Commodores also 10-win team, only 2 losses on the road at Texas, at Alabama.
You know what's amazing to me is everybody keeps beating the horn and talking about Texas, Texas, Texas. Well, if you like Texas,
To go to New York, he might win.
So we're in
yeah, and if you look at their strength of record, sitting at 12.
This is
yes, they
At number 12,
Miami and
the
11.
name is up for a play.
and it's still BYU.
BYU at 11.
BYU fans have said they aren't getting their due as an at-large team, but BYU can simply beat Texas Tech, and then they earn their way into the field.
Yeah, they get their shot, and they played Texas Tech this season. They lost, didn't play great, turned the ball over 3 times in that game, and that was their only loss of the season. This is interesting for the Big 12. If BYU can beat Texas Tech, all of a sudden the Big 12 is getting 2 teams in at that point, and they could steal one of those spots from one of the other teams that are sitting there on the cut line, hoping to get in. Big game for BYU.
Okay, so
Number
if you
2,
follow the basketball tournament or follow
probably
the season,
just going to be Alabama
bubble
at
teams.
number 9.
So who's sitting right
Notre
on
Dame.
the bubble right now? And if you
Now
also
those two
watch
did
the
switch
odds
and Notre
makers
Dame
who
was
do
number
such
10.
things, perhaps
That'll
we're
get
looking to see
interesting.
if there's a
Oh
change
my
here.
God.
And there is. Notre Dame is now the team sitting right on the bubble, down 1 spot after finishing the season 10-2 on a 10-game winning streak.
That's got to be really uncomfortable.
Ooh, okay. Okay. So, about time they didn't favor Notre Dame so much. So, yeah.
For Marcus Freeman. I mean, they are playing elite level football. They've been killing everybody. Every single one of those 10 wins by double digits. But it does feel like after Alabama lost to Oklahoma, they were kind of overly penalized, dropping all the way behind the Irish and several others. Feels like they might have adjusted a mistake that they had a couple weeks ago.
So Notre Dame is at 10 and 1 spot ahead of the Fighting Irish. Is Alabama. After beating Auburn, they go up 1. Now, this comes down to the classic metrics versus football judgment evaluation. Alabama clearly has the better case over both Notre Dame and Miami by metrics, but it's not a crazy thing to look at Notre Dame and Miami and say, I think they're a better team than Alabama.
Yeah, especially the way Notre Dame has been playing, and Greg mentioned it, the way they've been blowing people out. I'm surprised to see Notre Dame drop 1. But again, we will see Alabama play against Georgia this weekend and see what they are. But I'm surprised to see that switch.
It will be interesting to see. Alabama has another game to play. Georgia.
Hey, I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm not. Because with Alabama's schedule, they have more strength schedule. Notre Dame doesn't. They would be one ranked team. And they're not even much of a powerhouse. They would be Pitt.
Beats Alabama. Now Alabama is 10-3. How do you look at Alabama and Notre Dame at that point? That will be fascinating.
And does it give Alabama a little cushion, too? If they lose close, are they still in the field because they're now sitting in front of Notre Dame, who's not playing this weekend?
I think that's probably a really big point. We'll get to the bottom of that with Hunter Yurachek. Oklahoma survived against LSU. They stay 1 spot ahead of the team they beat by a couple of points in Tuscaloosa. And under this matchup, they would play again, this time in Norman. Number 7. Texas A&M falls 4 spots. This would give the Aggies a home game if it were to end this way, just ahead of A&M at number 6. The Ole Miss Rebels, who despite losing Lane Kiffin, move up 1 spot.
Wow. Well, actually, I'm not that surprised.
And yeah, and I think this is fair. When you look at them at 11-1, it was announced earlier, Lane said that
maybe they wind up with a bye in the first round. Number 4 was spot into Ole Miss, Texas A&M.
Ole Miss.
That's right. That's right.
Kings fall that way. Maybe they wind up with a bye in the first round. At number 4, we presume that is going to be Texas Tech, and it is. Red Raiders can win the Big 12 when they take on BYU. Maybe get a first-round bye. Georgia, as we've mentioned, plays Alabama in position to get the bye. And then the top 2 will play in the Big 10 championship game. You know, we could wind up with this thing on Selection Day and have 3 of the...
So we're in no matter what.
4 buys come from the Big 10.
That would be amazing. The same thing I was
thinking.
That would be amazing for the Big 10.
Yeah, oh my God. So, looking at it, that's actually not a bad spot. Yeah, like, for real. Yeah, it's not a bad spot. Whew, this is gonna be interesting. So looking at it, if Virginia lose, Miami, I think Miami should get in. But if Virginia wins, they'll play Ole Miss. So it's already confirmed for the teams that are not playing in the title game that are going to be in. These are your finalists for the first round. Unless the BYU beats Texas Tech, then Oregon will slide into the bye and Texas Tech will have a home game. Unless they just, because you don't really get penalized when you lose the conference championship game, so yeah. So regardless, even Georgia beats Alabama, Alabama will just stay right there at 9, or they might go down to 10, especially out Notre Dame. Because we think about it, BYU being Texas Tech, that will automatically push them up to number 7. Being Texas Tech will get you up 3 to 4 spots, so they will literally go up to 7, and then then Texas A&M will go down to 8. Alabama will go down to 10. Oh shoot. Alabama has to go to BYU. No one else will lose that game. Kind of a hard one right here.
Okay, so now based on the current rankings, bracket brought to you by AT.
We're getting to the final rankings right here. This is literally the final rankings. Next week will be the actual final rankings. No change at all. It's final rankings for the college football regular season. Then it'll be your final change rankings for the playoff. But these are most likely your teams that are in the playoffs, regardless of what happens. These are your finalist teams that are going to be in the playoffs. But however, though, the only one I see getting kicked out is Notre Dame. That's the only team I see getting kicked out. Is Notre Dame. Notre Dame. Sorry, y'all. I just been biting the side of my fucking cheek. It's been irritating me. Like the back of my cheek. I think it's my wisdom tooth or something. But looking at this,
and you see the matchups. Now, look at how we're doing 11 and 12. Now, we're not projecting teams. These will be the 4th and 5th highest ranked conference champions. Logically dictate if Virginia beats Duke, they'll go into that 11 spot, and the 12 spot then would go to the American champion. If Duke wins, then it's probably going to be the American champion, either Tulane or North Texas, and James Madison. If James Madison wins, door also could be open for the Mountain West if James Madison were to be upset. A lot of Duke fans out there this weekend. A lot of Duke fans. A lot of Troy fans, too, maybe from the Mountain West. You never know. So what's the big takeaway?
Let's hear these guys.
I continue to look at 8 through 12. And when you look at Oklahoma, Alabama, Notre Dame, BYU, and Miami, Miami's sitting there at 12. If you're Miami at 10 and 2, you're staring up to these two teams. There's really nowhere for Miami to go. And I think Miami feels like that, yeah, we lost some games, but we're playing really good football right now. Carson Beck is starting to play well. And if we're going to talk about other teams like Notre Dame, got better throughout the season, how come Miami can't get better? How come Miami can't be playing their best football right now? 2 years in a row, a 10-2 Miami team, regardless of what you think about how they played, might get left out of the playoff. And to me, that doesn't seem right.
Regardless of how you think they might have played, that does count in this. And so it's interesting to me to see what happens if Alabama happens to lose to Georgia, because they're sitting in front of two teams that aren't playing football this upcoming weekend, and it's going to have the question mark of how important is it to get to this conference championship. A&M might have...
To be honest, I think they should be fine even if we beat them. And even if they beat us, they'll most likely rise up to 4 or 5. But really, man, I think Georgia's really locked in. And hey, we have to take every opportunity that comes our way. So we can't really give it up to Alabama. Just can't. Just cannot, man. For years and years and years, we felt pain from this team. The only time we got back at them in the same year was in the national championship game. Now, we never have beat them in the SEC championship game. And that was Gunner's first start, and he balled out. So, if Gunner can ball out like he did last year in the SEC championship, even though he played in the second half, but still, there will really be some questions about Georgia. I can see Georgia playing really good in this matchup, this upcoming matchup against Alabama. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. We still in for the playoffs. We can still make a great run. But no doubt in my mind. We go Saturday, handle business, man. We got to handle business against Alabama. Got to squash the beef between us. Got to squash it. Got to squash it. We got to get our get back with them. We got to get our get back. Seriously, man. We seriously can. I believe that Georgia can. I believe that Georgia will get their get back. If they do, I'm putting this back on. If they do, I'll put the jersey back on. Y'all see me in the next reaction? See me wearing this? You know what it is. But they don't. You just see me wearing the GOAT shirt. but I would really love them to beat them. But hearing them, they got a point.
Themselves a favor and not having to play an extra game and getting a home game in this situation. That's going to be interesting to see what happens with those wins and losses in the championship games.
And the committee set a precedent last year. And a different committee, different people on the committee. This exact same scenario, we sat here last year, talked about SMU. Yeah. SMU had to play on Conference Championship Saturday. They lost that game to Clemson. Clemson won the ACC. What was going to happen with SMU? Would they drop behind Alabama, Ole Miss, Miami, and South Carolina? That was the big question. Who would get in? And the committee did not penalize the team that was required to play that 13th data point. So I think at this point, based on what we saw tonight, assuming Bama doesn't get steamrolled by 28 points, 21 points plus, I think Bama's in the field, regardless of the outcome of Saturday's game. They can only enhance their resume with a win against Georgia for the second time and possibly get all the way up to the point where they're in the 5 spot, which is much coveted. Naturally, a home playoff game, maybe even a first-round bye.
I mean, that's what it looks like right now. And it also looks like the reasoning for doing it. I'm really fascinated to hear what Hunter Yurachek says was the thought process behind if it's course correction or if it's, you know, if it's something maybe that I've brought this up a lot of times. Sometimes it only takes 1 or 2 people to change their mind if the debate has been heated in the room.
It could also be interesting, Reese, when you mentioned the Big Ten. In the event Georgia loses and Oregon moves up and 3 teams out of the Big Ten get buys in this situation, having not played those tougher schedules, that'll say to those other teams, hey, don't schedule anybody in the
Okay. I still think Georgia will win it. Now it's time for, you know, predictions. Time for predictions. Yes, sir. You know, when the gold shirt flex out. So, looking at these predictions, the 5th spot is just gonna be some random ass team. So Oregon's just gonna win and go into Texas Tech. Is that the spot? Alabama versus Oklahoma. Ain't gonna lie, that's gonna be an interesting game. But since if we beat Alabama and they stay right there, I think they'll take their frustration out on Oklahoma. You know, Oklahoma will be playing competitive since they got a better defense. But I think Alabama will overrun them and then they'll go off to play Ohio State. Ole Miss probably versus either Virginia, Duke, or Miami. Yeah, I'm just gonna say Ole Miss. I just don't see Virginia doing it. I just don't see Miami really doing it. It's just I don't know. Then we have Notre Dame versus Texas A&M. Texas A&M. It don't even matter if they lost to Texas. It's just that they just don't really seem like the type of team that would, like, you know, Notre Dame is not really that consistent team that can just prove that they're just, we are so battle tested ready. We have played so many powerhouses type shit. And clearly they have not. They have not. So Texas A&M advances to Indiana. Ole Miss versus Georgia. It'll be a rematch game for Ole Miss. But I think Georgia, since it'll be more locked in, I'm going with Georgia. Texas A&M versus Indiana. I'm still going to pick Texas A&M. I just don't think Indiana really has much of a drive to prove why they deserve to be in the playoff. Alabama versus Ohio State. This will be an interesting game. Alabama beat them in the national championship. I just think this Ohio State team is more locked in. You know, Alabama will be going in good momentum. I just don't think there's really a team that's gonna slow down Ohio right now. So I'm gonna pick Ohio. Oregon versus Texas Tech. I'm going with Oregon to beat Texas Tech. Then the semifinals, we literally got Ohio State and Oregon. Oregon could possibly pull up the upset if Ohio State hasn't been here before. So with Ryan Day's coaching, I think that Ohio State will pull off the upset. Then Georgia versus Texas A&M. Kirby Smart has been this place before. Texas A&M has been fired all year, but knowing how they play against Texas and how now this time they seem like they'll be consistent, they'll be competitive. Well, I don't think they'll be more competitive to Georgia, so I'm going with Georgia. Then the national championship will be Ohio State and Georgia Bulldogs. And you already know it'll be a rematch from years ago. But Kirby's been here before. Like I said, give me them dogs to win the natty.
It's a real consideration. It might have also motivated the Alabama move. AT&T keeping you connected with Bracket Insights. Heather Dinich over there. Heather, the ACC scenario with Duke and Virginia is a fascinating one.
It is, and the fact that JMU is
we still got this woman here deciding
that the ACC could get left out entirely. But when we talk about this spot right here, what if JMU loses? I don't want to eliminate Duke entirely because the selection committee would at least consider the fact that Duke had a top 20 win against Virginia. Guys, we've seen this before. You know, when they get in the room, they're watching the game.
These niggas are 7-5. You telling me they deserve to be in not Miami? Make it make sense. No, for real, make it make sense.
Together, if Duke beats Virginia, they're talking about Duke as the ACC champion, and Duke would have 7 wins against Power 4 opponents. No other Group of 5 in the conversation would be able to say that. So while this is extremely significant, I wouldn't rule it out. A couple other things that I'm watching is BYU in the Big 12 is such an X factor in this, because if BYU beats Texas Tech, Notre Dame is probably going to be out. That's the way the math is going to work. But here's the other really interesting thing. And you talked about last year them saying that they're not going to move teams around, right? But if BYU moves out, by default, Miami's going to bump up a spot. If they bump up a spot and they're next to Notre Dame, do they flip them then because of the head-to-head? That's a very curious scenario.
You want this?
Okay, so it is, but still. All right, guys, thanks for watching. That's gonna be it. See y'all in the next one. Peace out to all my niggas.